And we're starting out in Nigeria, where the National Assembly correspondent of Vanguard Newspaper, Tordue Salem, has been found dead almost a month since his disappearance. Now, Salem, who was last seen alive around Tordue filling station close to the force headquarters in Abuja on October the 13th this year. Now, details surrounding the recovery of his corpse remain sketchy, according to a report by the newspaper.
Some persons, including one Prince Eyeniyi, have reportedly been arrested in connection with his disappearance. Eyeniyi was said to have contacted the deceased's wife to demand a whopping 100 million naira ransom. Now, I quote, "If you don't pay, Tordue will be killed in 7 days. For more information, call this number." End of quote. And Eyeniyi was said to have sent a text message to Salem's wife.
Well, joining us this morning to really shed more light on the matter is National Union of Journalists, that's NUJ chairman himself, the FCT chapter, Emmanuel Ogbeche. Emmanuel, good morning. Welcome to Breakfast Central. Good to have you on the program. We are all journalists one way or the other, whether print, broadcast or online. Please tell us what you know about this case that has led to the death of Salem.
It's a very sad one for journalists here in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. We didn't expect the outcome of this. Our expectations were that Tordue Salem would be found and reunited with his family and colleagues. But sadly enough, late last night, we heard a corpse was found and was identified to be his. But we remain skeptical because we've contacted family members who say they are unaware of the corpse that was found because they were not called to identify that corpse that is allegedly that of Mr. Salem. Well, Mr. Salem went missing late mid last month, that is October, precisely on the 13th, and the police were promptly informed of his disappearance. A few days later, precisely 7 days after his disappearance, the NUJ here organized a protest march to the police headquarters, where we were received by the first public relations officer, Mr. Frank Kumba, who gave us a brief of what the police were doing as to the disappearance of Mr. Salem. As at that time, Mr. Umba told us, a commissioner of police, by the way, told us that 6 persons had been quizzed and they had tracked his movement from when he took a hailing taxi service to the National Assembly and to the point he disappeared just less than 100 meters from the force headquarters here in Abuja. Our expectation remains that the police were on top of the situation and efforts were made, were on, to resolve the first disappearance. Remember also that the House of Representatives here in Nigeria raised the motion mandating the Inspector General of Police to do all it could to find out where Mr. Salem was, as well as other civil society organizations. So it is a rude shock and unbelievable that last night the newspaper he worked for before he allegedly was found dead was the one that broke the news that Mr. Salem's corpse had been found. Where, when, how, by who are questions we've been asking. And if a corpse was found, why was his family not notified for identification? So we think there are more posers to this, and the police need to come up with credible explanations.
All right, Emmanuel, this is a really sad situation. And you have clearly asked a lot of questions here in terms of the missing corpse and why the family members were not notified for proper identification. Yeah. But could Tordue Salem have somewhat been safe if security agencies acted swiftly?
Yes, we remain convinced that if the security agencies, particularly the police and the DSS, had acted quickly, Mr. Salem would still have been found and alive. But I still do not want to believe that Mr. Salem is dead because we have not been informed. His family members are unaware that he's dead. I think in a normal climb, in a climb that is working, you ought to have informed the family that, please, can you come? We have found the corpse here. Can we identify him? Where forensics taking, dental identification. What means, did whoever allegedly found Mr. Salem took to be certain that is his corpse? Was he just murdered a few days ago? Because if he was dead as at the time he went missing, by now his corpse would have decomposed considerably. So we think there is something not tidy about what has happened, and it is unfortunate.
Well, Emmanuel Ogbeche, it really begs the question why this young journalist, a family man, was the primary target of, was it kidnappers? There was also talks about ransom and a certain person being arrested. Where do you think this is all coming from? Is it a conspiracy here? And as chairman of the National Union of Journalists, your chapter, do you think more needs to be done to protect journalists in this country?
Well, in April this year, the NUJ, together with Media Foundation for West Africa, released the State of Press Freedom report concerning Nigeria. And it is very telling and disheartening. If you look at that report, 7 journalists prior to Mr. Salem's first disappearance have died without the police or security agencies doing anything credible to resolve those killings. There were 300 abuses involving 500 journalists and media organizations here in Nigeria. So this adds to the nature of journalism practice here in Nigeria. And remember also that Reporters Without Borders had described Nigeria as one of the most dangerous places in West Africa to practice journalism. So we remain worried that rather than see an improvement in terms of safety of journalists in this country, it's declining by the day. And Mr. Salem's first disappearance merely adds up to the numbers. And we think the Nigerian government needs to do more to ensure that journalists are protected so that democracy can indeed take root in Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much, NUJ Chairman for FCT Chapter, Emmanuel Ogbeche. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for this opportunity.
It is a sad one once again, but of course we will be bringing you development and update on this story in subsequent bulletin.